Hi, welcome to Virtual CB1A, and for today's lesson on mathematics of investment, we're going to talk about compound interest. So we are going to calculate compound annual interest and study the formula for accumulation. So in long-term financial transactions, compound interest is used to accumulate the original sum. When calculating compound interest, what is considered for the base is not the original sum, but the sum obtained after interest calculation and after adding the interest to the amount of the debt in the preceding period. So how is this different from simple interest? Sa simple interest kasi, for example, your term is in 3 years. So sa buong 3 years na yon, you are going to accumulate interest from the original principal. Pero pagdating sa compound interest, kung nag-gain na siya ng interest after, say for example, the deal is you are going to gain interest annually o taon-taon. Pagkatapos ng isang taon, syempre madadagdagan na yung value, di ba? Kasi nag-earn na siya ng certain amount of interest. On the second term, hindi ka na basta-basta lang maglalagay ng interest on the principal. Rather, you are going to get the sum of the principal and the interest gained from the first year, tapos yun yung magiging bago mong principal. So here, in compound annual interest, nagpapalit ka ng principal for every term kung kailan nagko-compound yung interest rate mo. So adding the calculated interest to the sum was the base for their calculation is called the interest capitalization. So the capitalization process happens according to the following model. So katulad nga nung sabi ko noon, o sabi ko kanina, when we are talking about simple interest, ang ginagawa lang natin, the total interest, ayaw niyang sumulat. So, the total interest for a certain, teka lang ha, hintayin natin siyang magsulat before ako magsalita ulit. Okay, so the total interest, noon ang ginagamit natin ay PRT. But this time, since yung T natin ay considered for 1 year, usually, or you can also refer to it as the letter, balikan natin yung ginamit natin before. Ayun. So, letter capital T, the life of the loan or the life of the investment, or N. So, dito, ang ginamit natin sa book na to ay I is equal to P times I times N. Yan. 'Di ba? And for the sum, it is simply P plus the acquired interest I. I am really sorry. Naglalag na naman siya. Okay, so this is P plus I. Or kung kukunin natin yung sum niya, i-expand lang natin to to the number n. Or kung hanggang kailan yung life ng loan mo. At saka kung ilang beses siya magko-compound. But when it comes to compound interest, meron tayong P sub 1, meron tayong P sub 2, meron tayong P sub 3. Nagpapalit tayo ng principal for every term. So, ano si P sub 1? Actually, this is equal to S, but that is only the accumulated amount for the first year, which is equal to P plus I. Tapos si P sub 2, saan to equal? Equal to sa P sub 1 plus yung bago mong interest I. So, nagpapalit tayo ng value ng principal. Ibig sabihin, mas malaki yung pwedeng maging interest because every in, uh, the interest for every term is being added and then it is being included on the next computation. Hindi katulad ng simple na fixed lang siya. So, balik tayo dito. Ayan. So, uh, this is how it works. So, the principal, the original principal plus P times I. Bakit wala na si N? Kasi in-assume natin na for one term yon. So, kung i-expand natin ito, so this can be equal to P plus P times I. Diba? So, ito yon, which can be changed into the formula. Factor out natin si P. You will have P times 1 plus I. Okay, dun sa pangalawang term naman tayo. So, gagamitin ulit natin yung nakuha nating value dito. This is going to be the new principal. So, magkakaroon ka ng P sub 1, which is this. So, P times 1 plus I. Tapos, i-add mo ulit yung na-acquire mo na principal from there. Which is equal to, saan siya mga kukuha? Yung I natin dito, i-multiply mo siya ulit dito. So, we have, ayan, ito siya. So, plus P times 1 plus I times I. So, times P plus 1 plus I times I. So, yung bago mong principal, i-add mo siya dun sa bago nating interest based from the new principal. Ano yung common sa kanila? Para silang may P times 1 plus I, di ba? So, P times 1 plus I, i-factor out natin siya. So, this is going to be times 1. Tapos, ang matitira naman dito sa kabila ay I. Ilan na yung 1 plus I mo? Di ba meron kang dalawa? Which will give you P times 1 plus I squared. And if you are going to continue this process, you will find out that your accumulated sum for a certain number of terms will actually be equal to P sub n, or pwede rin namang S sub n, which is equal to P times 1 plus I raised to the power of n. Depende kung ilan yung term mo. Okay? Ayan. So, this is S is equal to P times 1 plus I raised to the power of n. Anong difference? Ba't ko nilagyan dito ng n? Kasi pwede nating i-alter at kunin yung value for every term. So, this is optional if the problem will only ask you to get the total accumulated amount at the end of one term lang. Isang particular na term lang. But, say for example, maraming tanong sa loob ng problem. Get the accumulated value at the end of 3 years. E di S sub 3 siya. Tapos nandito yung 3. At the end of 6 years, e di S sub 6 naman siya. Raised to the power of 6 naman dito. Common sense lang siya. All you have to do is to analyze the problem. So, punta tayo kay example 1.5. Say, for example, your P is 1,000 currency. And then, we have I, the interest rate is 10%. That is equal to 0.1 in decimals. Consequently, the sums accumulated with compound interest are, so, ilang beses tong initerate? Actually, may pinanggalingan to kanina. I think this is for 3 years. Ito. Yan, for 3 years nga. So, let's solve it dito sa isang part ng paper. So, we have P which is equal to 1,000. We have I which is equal to 10% or 0.1. And then our N, our term is 3 years. And then it compounds annually. So, every year lang siya nagdadagdag ng interest. We have here S sub 3 which is equal to P times 1 plus I raised to the power of 3. So, we're going to have here 1,000 times 1 plus 0.1 raised to the power of 3, which will give you, so if you have your calculator with you, so please paki-calculate siya with me. Ayaw magbukas ng phone ko. So we have 1,000 times 1.1 cube ayan, nag-lock. So PEMDAS 1,000 and then 1.1 raised to the power of 3 is equal to 1.331 and then multiply it by 1,000. You will end up with 1,331 unit currencies. So remember, if there is a currency mentioned in your problem, do not forget to include the currency. So the annual, punta tayo kay example 1.6. So the annual rate of compound interest equals 8%. After how many years will the original sum double? Ito yung interesting na part kasi gagamit na tayo ng logarithmic functions. So paano nangyayari or paano natin nagagamit ang logarithmic functions? I don't know if you were familiar with logarithmic functions before, pero if we have a certain base b raised to the power of x, which is equal to a real number a, kapag ang gusto nating makuha ay si x, tapos given si b, at saka si a, this will be written as the logarithm of a with base b is equal to x. So I will prepare a calculator and then give you an illustrative example. Okay. Okay, so for example, our value here is 2 for the base raised to the power of x, which is equal to 8. So we are going to write this para makuha natin yung value ng x as the logarithm of 8 with base 2, which is equal to x. And kung i-input nyo to dun sa mga scientific calculator nyo, make sure na may option kayo to change the logarithm dito, yung nasa subscript. Kasi dun sa ibang mga calculator, naka-ano lang siya lagi, pwede lang siya sa mga base 10. So, lagi lang siyang sa common logarithm. But if you have a more advanced calculator that will give you the option to change the subscript here into any value that you wish, you should end up with the value 3. Kuha tayo na ibang example, yung sa common logarithm lang. Say for example, you have 10 raised to a certain power x. Kailan siya magiging 10,000? So, I think kaya na siya nung available na na calculator dito. Ayan. So, we can write this as the logarithm of 10,000 with base 10 is equal to x. But remember, if your base is 10 in the original problem, pwedeng hindi na siya isulat. So, pwedeng ano na lang siya, log 10,000 is equal to x. So, kung meron kayong scientific calculator, punta tayo sa function and then just write down logarithm of 10,000. Logarithm of 10,000 is ito, 4. So, x is equal to 4. Okay? And additionally, if we are dealing with logarithms, since hindi naman logarithms function or logarithmic function, yung topic natin ngayon, medyo um, light lang, shallow lang yung magiging discussion natin regarding the rules for logarithm. So, meron tayong um, idea that, say for example, so the logarithm of a certain value x with base 10 is given, then it is equal to the natural logarithm of x over the natural logarithm of your original base 10. So, halimbawa, meron tayong values. Ayan. So, for example, 1.6, the annual rate of compound interest equals 8%. So, we have here I is equal to 8% annually or 0.08. Ang condition natin, after how many years will the original sum double? So, meron tayong given na principal P. Ito yung total value natin on the first term. And we know that to get the total sum S, dapat gagamitan natin siya ng P times 1 plus I raised to the power of N. 'Di ba? But our condition here, dapat daw yung original sum ay magdo-double. So, dapat itong P natin dito ay doble na niya si S. So, S is equal to 2P. So, kailan natin yun makukuha? So, here we have to double P. Therefore, dapat ito ay maging equal sa 2. So, since S must be 2P, pwede natin siyang i-substitute as P times 2. Or pwede rin siyang maging greater than or equal to P2. Kasi hindi naman natin madedetermine kung kailan exactly or kung tatama siya na talagang doble after a certain number of years. Possibly may putal. Halimbawa, 2 years and 1 month. Kaya 2.05, ibig sabihin 2 years and 6 months, 2.5 years. 'Di ba? So, pwede nating i-change itong inequality dito as S is greater than P2. So, paano ito mangyayari? So, ito, itong 1 plus I raised to the power of N, it should be greater than 2. Yan. Since S should be greater than or equal to P times 2. So, we have here 1 plus I raised to the power of N is greater than 2. So, sabi natin dito, Kung kukunin natin si logarithm, the base will be 1 plus I raised to the power of n. So, kunin natin siya. So, we have the logarithm of 2 with base 1 plus I. Teka lang ano siya. Kinulang sa space. Lagi na lang siya nagahang. Okay, 1 plus I with base. Ayan. Is greater than the unknown value n. Or, pwede natin siyang i-translate using this as, so, logarithm of 2 with base 1 plus I is equal to the ln of your value unknown here. Ayan, yung x mo dito, or your original base. So, we have, baka malito magmukha, mukha kasi siyang mukha siyang power, pero hindi siya power, kasing laki siya nung log dito. So, we have here ln 2 over ln 1 plus I. Okay? So, pwede na nating ma-determine kung sino si n. So, n is greater than ln 2 over ln 1 plus 0.08. Compute natin siya. So, here we have, clear all muna natin. So, clear all, lagay tayo ng fraction. Ayan. So, sa numerator, lagay natin si ln 2. Undefined pa siya, wala pa kasi tayong denominator. Next, sa denominator, lagay natin si ln 1 plus 0.08. Okay. So, kung ang interest rate mo daw ay 8%, mag-iintay ka ng 9 years or at least 9 years bago magdoble yung principal mo kung nagko-compound siya annually. So, it is n is greater than 9.0065. Ayan. So, at least 9 years. Maghintay ka ng at least 9 years, doble na yung money from your account. Okay? Ayan. So, nakalagay dito after 9 years or at least 9 years. And then, meron tayong presentation dito. Ayan. On how simple interest compares with compound interest. Ayan. So, the dependence of the accumulated sum on the life of the loan. Itong rates varying in time, i-discuss ko siya sa susunod ng, ay hindi, Total, mag-aano na pala tayo, nominal and effective interest rate. Sige, discuss na rin natin to with summation. So, let the loan term N be divided in intervals with the duration N sub T. Ito na naman tayo, yung isa-subdivide natin siya. Yung isang term, for example, the term will last for 3 years, but it is compounded quarterly. So, meron kang apat na subdivision sa bawat isang taon for the duration of 3 years. So, we are going to consider this formula. So, if t is equal to 1, 2, and so on until you finish the term s, then n is equal to the summation of n sub t from t is equal to 1 up to s. And in every interval, interest calculation is made at the rates I sub 1, I sub 2, up to I sub s correspondingly. Then the formula of accumulation with compound interest will be, ayan. So, halimbawa, for the first year, your interest will only earn 8%. And then, quarterly ka mag-compound. So, for 1 year, ang susundin mo lang dito na ay 0.08. But on the second year, magko-compound ka na lang annually, isang beses lang. But the interest is 20%. So, we have 1 plus 0.2 naman for I. And then, dito, for the next, say for example, 4 years, we have 1 plus I sub S n raised to n sub 4. For example, for the duration, ano nga sabi ko? For the duration of 4 years, magko-compound ka for 10% ulit. Para mas malinaw pala, copy natin to dito. Hirap kasi pag walang board, minsan nakakalimutan ko rin yung example na binibigay ko. Ayan, gawa tayo ng sarili nating problem kasi walang binigay dito sa book natin. Pero I think necessity na magbigay tayo ng problem. Hintayin lang natin siya mag-paste and then sulat ko yung problem dito sa baba. Ayan, ito yung formula na gagamitin natin ha. Ayan. So, an amount of 1,000, para simple lang yung calculation, was invested in an account that will bear 8% interest compounded annually for the first 3 years and 10% on the years thereafter. Ayan, dalawa lang yung gamitin natin. How much money will there be in the account at the end of 10 years? Okay, so take note here, meron tayong dalawang terms. For the first 3 years, pag nandun lang yung money mo, it will earn 8% interest compounded annually. Compounded annually pa rin siya dun sa succeeding years, pero 10% na yung magiging interest. So how much money will you have? So initially, you have 1,000, right? And then for the first 3 years, it will earn 1 plus I sub 1. What is I sub 1? So, lagay tayo ng mga given dito. So, the given values are, of course, your P is 1,000, your I sub 1, ang first interest mo for the first term is only 8% or 0.08, and then it will last for N sub 1 natin, yung duration for the first term of the conditional interest will be 3 years. Tapos yung mga sumunod na year na sa kanya, magkakaroon ka na ng 10% na interest or 0.10 or 0.1. Eh gaano katagal mo iiwan dun yung money mo after nung unang term na 3 years. So you have a remaining 7 years pa. So meron ka ditong n sub 2 is equal to 7 years. So here, we are going to write down 1 plus 0.08 raised to the power of 3. Kasi good for 3 years yung interest natin na 0.08. And our problem is, how much money will you have after the next 7 years? Kung nandun lang yung money mo. So for the total of 10 years, you will have 1,000 times 1 plus 0.08 raised to the power of 3 times 1 plus 0.10 raised to the power of 7. So here, compute natin siya. Our trusted calculator should be just here. Ayan. Clear all natin siya. We have 1,000, open parenthesis, 1 plus 0.08. I-close natin yung parenthesis and then lagyan natin siya ng power na 3. Okay? Tapos, i-multiply din natin siya sa 1 plus 0.10. I-close natin yung parenthesis, lagyan natin siya ng power na 7. Ayan. So, at the end of 10 years, meron ka ng 2,454.8223. So, 2,454.8223. So, this is just the approximated amount. So, ganito yung sinasabi dito sa rates varying in time. Kaparehas lang din ito ng idea nun sa simple interest natin na nag-iiba yung interest for a certain period of time. Okay? So, on our next discussion, we are going to tackle nominal and effective interest rates. Probably, ano na to, Wednesday. So, thank you for listening and see you next time. Bye!